Well, it's never a perfect day, is it? Pretty good day. We had 7 qualifiers in 2 countries. Some high expectations around some questions around others, and some hopes, right? So, we started the day. I get up, got the kids on the bus, got to the barn. James and Amy had everything all ready to rock. We brought in the first load. Now, James's horse was qualifying also. We had 5 horses in total going to Mohawk. 4 of them were ours. And we had 3 at Northfield Park. So at Northfield Park, it rained all day. Track sloppy, just a disgusting day. Now, this will be important in a minute. So, Braemar qualified well, getting into the... I took the snake cord off him. He was a little aggressive going to the gate. I'm like, oh man, please don't be ignorant. But leaving the gate, he was fine. Got away in the 3-hole. The horse in the 2-hole was done. I had to move him in the middle of the turn. Not really where you want to move a horse. Want to wait till I had a lane and let him sprint hard. A little bit of a tailwind today, so a lot of good quarters. You know, I'm thinking 50, it's windy, still overcast, not the warmest day. I'm thinking 57, 58, 27 and a piece on the end of it would be good. He can home good. When I'm on 58, I think he come 27 and 3 or 28. He come home good. 2 options as we have the the series coming up in April 2nd at the Meadows. Race him or requalify him. I don't think his mile was good enough to race him in the straight non-winners of 2. I just don't. Now, I'll think it over the weekend, but I'm almost thinking requalify, and then race him at the Meadows. Same thing for Galarium. Going into race number 5. I'll jump ahead of... No, I'll go where I'm supposed to. Cut the Line. How would she be today? Her AST was still a little high. Remember, we couldn't go with her the other day because her muscle count was still high. Now, there's 2 levels. I keep telling everybody this, but it's always important. Not everybody remembers or wasn't paying attention. When a horse ties up, I suspect it's the same for a human. When you get that stiffness in your back, that sharp pain, and then it turns into cement for an extended period of time. Horses, it could be longer or shorter. The first level to go up, the creatine, the CK level, will jump quickly. When that level comes back down, and it can come back down quickly within a day, 2, 3, or 4, as it comes back down, what you're left with is the AST, that's the enzyme level. The AST, some horses can operate with a moderately higher AST level. Some can't. Now, I know last week heading into the qualifier, her AST was 1,726 or something like that. That was a little higher than you'd like to see, so we opted not to go with her. Now, we didn't retake her blood because we worked on her all week. She had a couple of jugs run into her. We knew her AST was down. We didn't know how low. James warmed her up and said she feels like crap. But she always feels weak when you're going slow. She's a little bit of a cheater. But I have to be honest. When she get in the qualifier, when she get in the race setting, very good today. Took the head pole off her, let her hobbles out. I didn't really want to push her that hard, although I was hoping for a big mile in front of me to follow. We got a mile in 2 minutes. She paced 2:2. Last quarter in 28.3. A very good mile overall for her. Is that enough to sell her? Maybe not. But enough to put her in to go. We'll put her in to go in the maiden next week at Mohawk. Now, can she pace 56, 55? No. But she can follow along, get a good line, which would likely lead to us being able to sell her. You see where I'm going with this. Cut the Line is probably not with us that long. I was very happy with what I saw from today from Cut the Line. Very, very happy with the mile I saw from her. But still, you know, she's not, 53, 54 pacer. She's not a stake filly. So it goes without saying that she's probably not going to be a stable employee very much longer. Then we went out in the 5th at Galarium. How would she be? 5th race. I was curious, and I said to James, listen, she has the series on April the 1st, I believe. Next week is either requalify or race. I said, I'm not asking you to push her too much, but I need to have an accurate idea of what she's going to be able to do. He come off the track, 59-4 last quarter and 27-1. He come off the track and said, this is a good horse. Now, when you say it's a good horse, you can always, you can interpret that different ways. If I tell you, geez, I was really happy with this horse. This horse was a good horse tonight. Okay. How good? And what does that mean? So, I don't want to get into that too much and put James on the spot. All I know is he was extremely impressed and enamored with Eglariam. She will race next week in the non-winners of 2. Braemar will likely requalify. You may see him in to go, but he'll likely requalify. Cut the Line will be entered in to go now at Mohawk. She's probably ready to pace 57, I think. Who else do we have? That was 3. And I went with Can't Muscle Me. Now, this is important. Today, it's still only +5 at 1 o'clock. When we qualified, it was +3. Overcast, cool, damp day. Now, this time of year, when the sun hits like it did the last 3-4 days, you see a lot of the mares come into heat, right? The fillies, they'll come into heat. That can or cannot play a role. Sometimes no big deal. They just muscle through it. Other horses struggle quite a bit. We had one horse struggle on both sides of the border. Can't Muscle Me, a little aggressive, a little hot going into the first turn. She was angry that we had a snake cord on her, but just a little warm. Ended up getting into the turn, maybe kind of lost her bearing going into the turn, rolled off for no particular reason. I pushed her hard. She probably tried to last half 58 apiece. I pushed her real hard getting into the last turn, coming out of the turn, down the lane. She worked very hard after that, never put a step in. So I suspect rinse and repeat. Put her right back in to qualify the same way. Maybe try to have her a little quieter heading into the first turn and see how she behaves, because steering-wise she was fine. She seemed really good to me. Jump over to Ohio. Big morning. Got our 3 big guns qualifying this morning. My Jazz, Mama Knows Best, and I'm a Lovely Lady. Now, I look at the entries. I'm a Lovely Lady's in with Pacers. Track's off, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, whatever. Sloppy. Just a sloppy track. And she's in with Pacers. Mama Knows Best in My Jazz. We're watching them all. I see the first line come up. Mama Knows Best jogs 2-1. Looks great. Looked real good. I'm happy. Scroll down to the next one. I'm a Lovely Lady, 2-3, but the horse in the front was a pacer. It looked to me, the way the chart line read, Luke Ebersol just ducked her in, didn't want to chase any speed in the slop, moved her over. 2-3, probably last half in a minute, I guess, last quarter in 30-29, something, I don't know. Jason said she was much better than her line shows. It's a wonderful trainer. That's what all trainers do. She's way better than that line shows. But in fairness, Jason believed she was much better. Luke was happy with her. Jason was happy with her. She'll race in a maiden next week. We ran into one other problem. The biggest problem of the entire day, My Jazz. I looked down. 37 seconds on the end of it. Scoped her, little bit of blood. That isn't the problem. The problem is she tied up. Raining, sloppy, horsing, tied up. She bled a little bit, but did she bleed because she tied up? I don't want to go ahead and just put her on Lasix and say, she bled. She never bled a day in her life. So I find that hard to believe. The vet said there's a little bit of blood there. There's enough to put her on Lasix, but I want to have a look at her muscle count first. She for sure tied up also. So let's see how bad she tied up, and then we'll go from there. If we do put her on Lasix, fine, but I suspect you're going to see significant tie-up in this filly, which probably will impact her ability to race in the Hackett. That's the way it is. We got a long year ahead of us with this filly, and if she tied up because she was horsing, fine. Put her on Regimate to control her coming into season. Clean up that AST as quickly as you can. Now, they did get on it right away. As I called Jason, as soon as they saw the line, the qualifier had been over maybe 40 minutes. He was already running fluids into her. The veterinarian was there running fluids into her and muscle relaxants into her. So the quicker you get on it, the better it is. So we'll see how My Jazz, how our AST looks tomorrow, how our CK looks tomorrow. If it's not too high, we can aim for a qualifier in the future. I don't want to go ahead and say a week from now. That would be lofty. Everything will depend on what this number says. So, a great qualifier from Mama Knows Best. Jason says a great qualifier from I'm a Lovely Lady. The line looks okay to me. And then a poor qualifier with obvious excuses for My Jazz. Got a lot of work to do to clean up those areas. You may very well see her miss the Hackett, miss a qualifier for a couple of weeks, be put on Lasix. These are things that we have to combat now, certainly now. We're not going to jeopardize the season of a filly that was our best horse in the entire barn last year over a bad week. That's what it is. Nothing happened this week that will compound into a real problem in the future. Everything that happened today with my Jazz can be fixed. Her muscle count, her bleeding. And I would caution anybody, and it really, I almost didn't want to bring up the bleeding, but it was there. When I say her bleeding, if she tied up bad, the bleeding you see in there could absolutely be caused by that. Now, is it worth treating both? Is it worth saying, okay, we're going to put her on Lasix in case anything ever happens again, we can help her with her bleeding, and we'll treat her muscle count. I suspect that's the path we're headed down. Mama Knows Best is on Lasix. GW Chrome is on Lasix. The medication is there to be used. That's what it's there for. So I don't have a problem with that, but I do have a problem with rushing her. I guess that's what I'm getting at. We will not rush my Jazz. If her AST is high, she's not racing in the Hacken. And I don't care, to be honest. It's a long year, a long season for my Jazz, and she needs to be at 100% every time. So is this horsing and coming into season going to be a problem throughout the spring? Fine. If it is, keep in mind, she didn't race till last July. This is March. This is when mares are bred and fillies come into season. So if this is a problem for her, put her on Regamate to help keep her out of season. Fix the tie-up. And if we believe, in conjunction with the veterinarian, if Jason believes that she needs one Lasix, then fine, we'll put her on Lasix. It will take longer to treat the muscle count than it will to clean up that blood. So I'm not worried about anything that happened today, only that it was an unsightly line. Easily explainable, but doesn't soften the blow any. It still sucks to see the best filly we have trotting 2:11 come 37 seconds. Yeah, that sucks. But that's racing. As I said, can't all be good. Braemar was good. Aglaire AM was incredible. Cut the Line was as good as she's ever been. Very, very happy with Cut the Line today. That was our 3. Who's the 4th one? Can't Muscle Me. I would suspect. Now, for those of you saying, well, she ran last week. Not in the same way, not in the same place. She made a break coming out of the gate last week because she was interfering and not trotting well. She was trotting fine today. Little ignorant, little ornery today, and maybe pull a blood. You might find a little bit of a muscle count on Can't Muscle Me also. So 2 things happened bad today. Both are very, very fixable with clear paths to a resolution in both cases. Can't Muscle Me, I draw her blood tomorrow, see what her muscle count is. I suspect a little bit high, not crazy, but a little bit high, very treatable. I wouldn't change any equipment for the most part. Maybe take the Murphy off, add a couple of line pulls, but that's it for her. I was happy, not happy with the break, but overall happy with her. Next is my Jazz. We can treat the horsing, we can treat the tying up easily enough, and if we decide we need to treat the bleeding, we have a path for that also. So those are the 2 issues today. Everybody else was great. Aglaire AM was great. Braemar was great. Cut the Line was good. Mama Knows Best was fantastic, I'm told. And I'm a Lovely Lady was good. So all in all, not a perfect day, but a decent day. A decent day. So that is your Thursday. You're getting a lot of videos this week. You had 2 yesterday. This is your Thursday video. I will be back, I guess, tomorrow. We have horses race. Ton of horses racing tonight. Ton of horses racing this weekend. Good luck to all our, I don't want to single anyone out, to all our clients. As I said, not a bad day.